I must say that as the time grew closer to present the first female course, because Théun was quite specific with us, that there was no way that I could go and teach the male course.
Yes.
Because understandably, I mean, a cat can't teach a dog to climb a tree.
Absolutely, yes.
So it wouldn't make sense for me to go and try and teach the males how to be males, because they would all end up like I did, like a second-rate male.
Yes.
So he was going to teach the first male course.
Yes.
And in actual fact, he did that, and then he did a subsequent one after that. And then I was going to teach the female courses. But I must say, as the time grew closer for me to present this course and to facilitate it, I became quite petrified, actually, to tell you the truth, to be absolutely honest. What I said earlier on, somewhere within my psyche, around about 17 years old, I decided that this world of females, there's just too much competition here. I'm out of here. I'm going to go join the males. They have far more fun there. I say there was nothing conscious at the time that I recall, but if I just look at what happened, that's what happened. So now, I'm going to present a course to females about what it means to be a female.
Yes.
And that's a world I left behind at the age of 17. So it petrified me.
Yes.
But I also knew it was a huge turning point for me. I just knew it was a huge turning point for me. As much as I was terrified to actually step into that totally unknown world, I also knew that it was time for me to take responsibility for the fact that I'd actually been born a female.
Yes.
And what better person to teach a course like that?
Yes.
When it's the one role that I must have looked at very young. Bearing in mind, I'm number 6 of 7 children. So if all I saw my mum doing was cleaning housework, looking after children, what have you, which she always maintained made her heart sing. Somewhere within there, I must have had some sort of perception that this is not for me. This is now definitely not for me. And so I'd headed off to go and get a career. But having abandoned the role of a female in the process, I just threw the baby out with the bathwater in actual fact. But in working with Théun Mares, I started to realize just what a mystery a female is. And I started to get in touch with, it was quite a magical time actually, that I've been caught up, I suppose, in the same way that a lot of females have been caught up, that it's all about the doings.
Right.
And through the courses I could see that the males were also caught up with that.
Yes.
You know, through the males' experiences, they were coming to realize their only role in the life of a female is that of an ATM, you know, an automatic teller machine, where you go to work every day and you produce the money.
Yes.
You know, you go to work and you produce the money. Well, I may as well just go put my card into the machine, you know, in the wall to get that.
Yes.
Or maybe they were there because they were great lovers. So I could really see with the males they were struggling, because if somebody took sex away from them or took money away from them,
Yes.
then what was left?
Yes.
You know, what was their role in life? And I could see them struggling so much with that. But then I could also see how the females were struggling, because if you're married to a man who's not feeling good about himself, then how can you possibly feel good about yourself?
Yes.
So that was a huge challenge for me. That's the female course. But it was, once again, it was another huge turning point in my life. And I would say every single female I saw coming to do those courses, and of course I would see the result with the males afterwards. I wasn't there to experience that course.
Yes.
But just being there through those 4 or 5 days with those females and watching how the lights would actually come on, and realizing how I'm not my doings. You know, it's got nothing to do with who looks after the children. Well, I wouldn't say it's got nothing to do with it. But the roles of the male and the female are just so much more than what we see on the physical plane. And it comes back to what we were talking about, intelligent cooperation.
Yes.
Because the beauty out of that came for me was I actually started to see males so completely differently myself.
Okay.
For example, if I was wrestling with something, anything, could be something personal, could be something to do with the institute or whatever it was, there would always be a male somewhere that I could just turn to and say, I've got an issue. Can we actually work with it? Now, if they'd done the courses and they knew what intelligent cooperation was, they knew we were going to be working with the mind and the heart, and
yes.
that we needed to include both.
Yes.
That if we just went down the intellectual route and used the mind, well, we're going to land up with a solution, but it ain't going to be the best solution.
Yes.
And I'm not saying I couldn't have got to that solution myself, but what I quickly learned out of my own experience is that it would take me possibly 3 days, whereas if I asked a male for something, because of his willingness and his ability to be so practical, the answer would come just like that. I think, why not think of that? And that was, as I say, the beauty, the hope that came out of those courses, those male and female courses, was just to see how people for the first time start to understand their roles, and then how they can actually cooperate with each other instead of this competing against. And always, we talked about the battle of the sexes earlier on. And yeah, I just saw huge changes. For myself personally, it was life-changing, absolutely life-changing.
So the courses that you were doing there, if I understand you correctly, is that people were actually having the opportunity to really meet each other, to really find one another as males and females?
Yes. Yes, I had some couples, for example, come into the couples course. In fact, that could have been any course because it didn't really matter. After a while,
yes.
We would have a structure and a guideline for each course. But if somebody needed something out of that one or out of that one, well, we just shared it, and that's where we went to, because that was the need in the moment.
Yes.
I would sometimes have married couples who've been married for 25, 30 years, who would just think, I never knew that. I never knew that. I never knew that. And I think what we all started to learn is that we're all mysteries.
Yes.
We're all mysteries. Even to ourselves, we're mysteries. Whereas up until that point, I mean, we all just accepted we're supposed to know who we are. And so when I wake up in the morning, I think, I don't even know who I am anymore. It's like, oh God, it's the end of the world, as opposed to, gee, I don't know who I am anymore. It's very different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.